There's a cycle in how psychology goes with cryptocurrency. Where do you land on here? Like based on how you feel with crypto right now, you can either stamp onto the slide itself or just write one of these words in the chat box. Do you feel hope? Do you feel thrill? Do you feel anxiety? Curious is a good place to start. It's great, Amy. I was in denial earlier this week. And these are all emotions that come up as we invest in cryptocurrency. So all of these are going to be normal for you at different times. Don't be surprised if any of these emotions take you over at some point. Just know that it's a cycle. You'll go through these emotions. We all do. All right, so we're a couple minutes past the hour. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to spotlight myself here in Zoom and live stream this to YouTube. Okay? So I'm going to switch my camera over for just a second so that we can get into the live streaming aspect of this. One moment. Here we go. Hi, everyone. This is Caelan Huntress. Thanks so much for joining me today for the Bitcoin Basics Training and AMA. I'm going to go over a quick agenda so we know what we're going to cover in the next 60 minutes and give everyone the same context for the conversation. And that's the first thing that we're going to be doing today. Hi, everyone. Whoops. This is Caelan Huntress. Thanks so much for joining me today. Sorry about the feedback there. All right, so if you don't know me, my name's Caelan, and I run a digital marketing agency, Stellar Platforms, but we're not going to talk about digital marketing today. We're not going to talk about digital meetings today. Today we're going to talk about digital money. And so this is an AMA where you can ask me questions about cryptocurrency. We're going to start by setting the context. We're all going to get the same shared context of what the cryptocurrency market is like and how things are changing with the future of money. Then we're going to go through an exercise so that those of you who are watching this live, we're going to do a basic research exercise that's going to show you how to educate new coins. So when you hear about something in the media and you think, how does that coin work? Where can I buy it? I'm going to give you the tools so that you can do that research yourself. And then we're going to get into the AMA. For 15 or 20 minutes, I'm just going to open up the floor and answer any questions that you have. But I'd like to know some questions right now. Right now, what I'd like you to do is to come over into the chat box for those of you who are here live, and I'm going to set a timer for 30 seconds. And I want you to answer this question. What do you want to learn today? What question do you want to have answered today? Go ahead and type it in the chat box. Great. Great. We've got some good questions coming in. Awesome. Okay, great. All right, I'm really excited to be talking with you about cryptocurrency today because this is one of the biggest financial opportunities of our lifetime. Money itself is changing. The way that we've been using money, the way that we understand money, is going through a major transformation. The banking industry is ripe for disruption. I saw this Chase commercial the other day for Chase Bank, and they said, open up this savings account, and it had photos of a kid running around and set yourself up for your children's future. And the savings account rate that they were offering was 0.01%. So if you put in $10,000 into a Chase savings account over 30 years, you would make 30 bucks. That's the kind of returns that savings get us in banks nowadays. But cryptocurrency, it's like the gold rush of our generation, and it fixes very expensive problems. Right now, if you want to buy a house with a mortgage, you have to go to a bank and give them your money and let it sit there for days or weeks so that they can verify the transaction. But with cryptocurrency, you can buy a house in yen in a property in Brazil and have the transaction take moments. We live in a capitalistic society, and in capitalism, the better mousetrap wins. When you compare what banks can do with money versus with what cryptocurrency can do with money, it's obvious which one wins. The total value of the cryptocurrency market broke $3 trillion this month. Bitcoin itself, just by itself, has a $1 trillion market cap. Now, when I use this phrase, market cap, does anybody know what this phrase means? Go ahead and type it in the chat box and let me know if you know what market cap means. Type a yes. And if you don't, type a no. This is a safe space to say, I don't know what this is, because we're going to go over the Bitcoin basics today. Who knows what market cap means? No idea? Not yet? Great. This is why we're here, to learn the basics. Bingo! Gwen got it right. Congratulations, Gwen. The supply times the price. That's market cap. You can measure how big a specific currency or stock is based on the circulating supply multiplied times the current price. And that's how we rank cryptocurrencies. The number one cryptocurrency is Bitcoin, because the price of Bitcoin multiplied by the circulating supply is more than $1 trillion. And that's more than any other cryptocurrency currently on the market. There are some people who say that when the market cap of Bitcoin surpasses the market cap of gold, that it'll be unstoppable. Now, I'm going to share with you some of the things that I've heard about cryptocurrency, some of the things I know, but I do need to give you a little disclaimer that I am not going to give you financial advice. This is just for education purposes. If you want to make any investment decisions, that's all on you. I'll share with you what I've learned and some of the opinions I have, but I'm not going to tell you where to invest your money because I'm not qualified to do that. I'm just a dude on the internet. So keep that in mind, that I'm just some dude. Wipe your own nose, okay? All right. So I found this interesting statistic the other day that Bitcoin alone accounts for $6 billion of daily online transactions. That's second to only Visa and MasterCard. So I guess it's third because Visa and MasterCard independently are both more than $6 billion per day. But nobody else is. Bitcoin has attained such universal adoption that now they're in third place after Visa and MasterCard. There was a Bankrate survey recently that asked people of different generations, how comfortable do you feel in owning cryptocurrency? And 49% of millennials said they felt good about it. 37% of Generation X said they felt good about it. But for boomers, only 22% of boomers felt comfortable owning cryptocurrency. So I want to know how comfortable you feel. So for those of you who are here live, I'm going to launch a poll, and I want you to rate yourself. What kind of knowledge do you have of cryptocurrency? Are you completely green? Do you have some basic knowledge? Do you have a solid background, or are you an expert? And if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and type it in the comment field. How confident do you feel in owning cryptocurrency? I'll close the poll in 10 seconds. All right. So we've got a couple people who feel completely green, some more with basic knowledge, but nobody feels like they have a solid background. Which is okay, because the good news is learning the basics is easy. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to learn the basics of Bitcoin and blockchain. Actually, no, I take that back. I'm not going to tell you the basics of blockchain. Blockchain is it's a network of computers. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time today getting into the mechanics of how the blockchain works. Just think of it like this. A centralized organization like a bank keeps all their computers in one place. A decentralized network of computers like a blockchain has a bunch of different computers that are all sharing a distributed ledger. That's a blockchain in a nutshell. Bitcoin is one of the currencies on a blockchain. And I know that this can be really confusing. This is new technology. So you don't have to master this technology to be able to use the currency itself. Like, I'm not a blockchain developer, but I can buy and sell cryptocurrencies. You don't have to be an e-commerce specialist to use a debit card. We don't have to know how it works. All we have to do is know the basics of how to be a consumer. We've reached this phase with cryptocurrency where we've hit the early majority phase. People are resentfully getting into it because now, okay, it's important enough that everybody's going to be learning on it. We're in this early adopter phase. I see us as at this chasm right now, where the tech is difficult for people to overcome. But once enough people learn this technology, we're going to get into the early majority, where it's going to be ubiquitous. Everybody can use cryptocurrency to pay for things. Being an innovator with something like this is not for the faint of heart. But we're not going to be innovators here. We're just early adopters. We're getting into it before it's so easy that you can't say no. And that's where a lot of profit is to be made. When you get in before the general public, even just throwing a couple $100 in, it could make a big improvement on your bottom line. I remember 4 years ago, I helped my mother-in-law buy her first bit of Bitcoin. She was 70 years old and she wanted to get into it. And so I showed her the basics, and now she's trading like a pro. And I didn't really think that much of it because, that's a lot of my business is helping technologically incompetent people learn how to do basic things in technology. And then a few months ago, my landlady said, I hear that you're good with technology. Can you show me how to buy my first bit of Bitcoin? And so I said, sure. And we spent some time working through the basics. And now she's got her own little portfolio. And so that's why I've decided to start holding these information sessions to help people get through the basics and get in. And so I'd like to know who's in the room. Go ahead and type in the chat box what the hardest thing is about crypto for you. What is it that you wish you could do, but that you can't do? Go ahead and type it in here and let me know what's a question that you want answered. Give you 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, some excellent questions in here. Great. Where are we right now in the market cycle? Do stable coins go down with USD value? Don't even know what questions to ask. What are the vulnerabilities? Yeah, these are great questions. Does anybody here own any Bitcoin? Show of hands or put it in the chat box if you own any Bitcoin. Let me know, do you have any BTC that you can access right now? Gwen's got some. Great. Great. Eric's going to get his first bit soon. I'm really excited to get you into this. Aha, I do, but my guy does it for me. This happens a lot. My landlady said to me, she wanted to know the basics of Bitcoin. How do I buy it? And I went over the basics, and she said, I could see that you understand this. Can you just do this for me? And I'll give you the money and you do the whole thing. And I had to break it to her, I really can't. That's like asking somebody, can you just open the bank account for me and I'll be a co-signer? I mean, people do have relationships like that. But what we're getting to is a new way of using your own money. And so it's really got to be an individual who owns their Bitcoin themselves. Now, I'm going to come to a lot of these questions individually as we go through this, but I want to ask another poll here for those of us who are live. So I'm going to launch a poll to find out which of these that you have. Do you have an exchange account? Do you have a soft wallet? Do you have a hard wallet? And if you don't know what these mean, don't worry, we're going to get to these. I want to get a pulse of the room. Does anybody have Bitcoin or Ethereum or Doge or another coin? Go ahead and take the poll and let me know which of these, if any, you currently have. Okay, I'm going to close this up in just a couple of seconds. All right. Great. Okay, so we don't have any soft wallets. We've got a hard wallet and an exchange account. We've got a little bit of ownership, but we really need to focus on the basics today. Thanks for taking this poll. It lets me know who's here and what we need to cover. This is like the opening of the Silk Road. You know, the Silk Road, if you don't know, was this period in history where China opened up to the Middle East and the West for trade. And suddenly silk was something that merchants could trade. If you were living in Venice and you were a merchant and you dealt in wool and cotton, suddenly having silk didn't mean that you had to go to China to get it. You could be a merchant in Venice, staying in Venice, dealing with a new good. And that's how I'd like you to think about yourself with cryptocurrency. You don't need to know how to get into the blockchain and program everything in there. You can be a merchant in your own hometown who's got all these new goods. But there's a roller coaster effect, right? Sometimes people have a great day in cryptocurrency where everything is going up and up. And sometimes people have a very bad day with cryptocurrency. They take the loss, like this guy who said, okay, at $14, I'm going to get out in 2011. I mean, can you imagine if he had held on to this for 10 more years? This is the roller coaster that we're in. And a lot of people compare cryptocurrency and blockchain to the Wild West. And right now, while there's not a whole lot of regulation, it's like that. Things are unexpected, but there's a whole lot of profit to be made. What I want you to do, if you're just getting into cryptocurrency, is to figure out how to move a small amount of capital into crypto. Just $100. If you can get $100 worth of Bitcoin, you open a money channel so that you can participate in the future of money. All right, we're going to start our exercise in just a moment, but first I want to go through some basics with you on different types of currencies. We're going to talk about 5 different types of currencies, where they're stored, and the types of returns you can expect on each one. What we're really here to talk about is crypto, which is stored on the blockchain, and the annualized return over the last 10 years is 400%. If you use dollar cost averaging and you put in $10 every week for the last 10 years, you could expect a 400% return on your money based on the last 10 years. This may not happen for the next 10 years, but that's what's been happening so far. We have a longer history with stock. We can see what's been happening with stock over the last few centuries. Stock is stored in a market. And if you did dollar cost averaging, you were putting in $10 a week, every week for decades or centuries, you could expect a 10% return on your money. With fiat, fiat is what we use for dollars or yen or pesos, and that's stored in a bank. And I'm going to be generous and call it 1%, because right now rates are very low of what kind of returns you can get for savings accounts. But let's just average it out over time and say you could expect 1% for just letting it sit there in a bond. And then there's barter. Let's make an agreement that every time I bring a sheep, you'll give me 2 goats. And that agreement, once you set it, it can stay at that level as long as your agreement stays in place with the same person. But the worst place to store value is in cash. You just keep it under your mattress. It doesn't get any return. As a matter of fact, because of inflation, it goes down in value. So cash is a very inefficient way to store your money. Right now, one of the most profitable places to put your money is in cryptocurrency because it's so new, because we're in that early adopter phase, and because there's not a whole lot of people who have gotten into it yet. So there's a lot of profit to be gained, but as a warning, don't bet the farm on any of these options. A diversified portfolio protects you from risk, so that if any one of these options fails, you still have a store of capital. All right, so next we're going to do an exercise. This is going to be fun. Okay, so I'm going to put a website in the chat box. And if you're watching this on the replay, this will be in the description of this video. This website is called coinmarketcap.com. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to coinmarketcap.com and pick a coin, not at the top, but in the 1 to 100. And here, let me share my screen here. This is coinmarketcap.com. And what this website does is it ranks all of the different cryptocurrencies and tokens according to market cap. The one with the biggest market cap is number 1, and that's Bitcoin. The second biggest is Ethereum, and that's number 2. And if you want to know what's going on in the markets, this is a good neutral website that you can go to find out what a basic coin does. And so let's take a look at Polkadot. Okay, I'm going to pick number 8 on this list. All right, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do this exercise, because you're going to pick something out of the top 10, but still in the top 100. When you click on any individual coin, it's going to give you a whole bunch of geeky stuff right at the top. You can find the source code, you can go to the website, you can find the current price in dollars and Bitcoin and Ethereum. You can find all sorts of information. But when you scroll down, you get some interesting things. You can see how the price of this coin has changed over the last day, the last week, and the last month. There's a lot of other websites on the internet that use this data from coinmarketcap.com to find out what's happening with a coin. And you can do the same. Scrolling down under the price data, you can find all sorts of interesting information about it, but I want you to look at this markets section. This markets section tells you where you can buy this coin and what you'll need in order to purchase it. On Coinbase, you can buy it with USD. So you can just use US dollars to buy it with a credit card. On Binance, you can use USDT, which is Tether. It's a stable coin. Tether is locked to the price of the dollar. So even if supply and demand make the price go up and down, they have some complicated code that keeps it at $1. And we'll get into stable coins during the AMA, but I just wanted to show you how to look in here and research a coin. And so for this exercise, I'm going to set a timer for 3 minutes. And you're going to pick a coin somewhere between 11 and 100. And I want you to look at the coin, do a little bit of research, and find 3 reasons, oops, sorry about infinity mode, find 3 reasons why you think it would be a good investment, okay? So I'm going to set a timer for 3 minutes and play some music. If you want to pick your 3 reasons and put them in the chat box, that's great. If you're watching the replay and you want to put this in the comments, that's great too. Okay, about 30 more seconds. All right. So let's go ahead and pop it in the chat box. Let me know which coin you've picked and why. Eric, we picked the same one. Nice. Tron, TRX. Great, these are good readings. Number 19. Evelyn, which one is 19? Put the ticker, that code for the coin. Let me know which one is at 19. A lively pattern and an underdog. Great. CRO? Excellent. Great. There's so many coins out there. There are so many different coins. It can be really challenging to keep up with them all. The good news is you don't have to master all of the different coins. All you have to do is figure out a few. Learn about Bitcoin, because that's the biggest one on the block. Learn about Ethereum, because Ethereum, if you don't know what Ethereum is, this is the symbol for Ethereum. It's number 2. And there are a lot of other applications that use the Ethereum blockchain in order to do the things that they do. And so there's a reason it's number 2. Not only was it the second one, but it also runs a lot of other coins. But there's a bunch of coins that have great potential. Litecoin makes things really easy to send. XRP, also known as Ripple, they work very closely with banks. So they're kind of scandalous in the crypto community because they work so closely with banks. But they also get through a lot of the red tape because they do it. And then there's Dogecoin and a bunch of meme coins. So we can go down a bunch of rabbit holes. And so what I'd like to do is move into the AMA portion of the workshop. And so I'm just going to open up the floor to anybody who's got a question. You can raise your hand, take yourself off of mute, and ask a question verbally, or I can start addressing some of the questions in the chat box. But to start with, does anybody want to raise a question? Just raise your hand and let me know if you want to take yourself off of mute and have a conversation. Okay, I'm going to start with this first question here in the chat box. Do stable coins go down with USD value? By definition, yeah. Yeah, a stable coin like Tether, USDT, is pegged to the price of the US dollar. So it's always going to be worth $1 US. And there are other stable coins that have other mechanisms for doing it. USDC is another one that, without getting too deep into the details, Tether's kind of got a little bit of a scandal behind it because they are supposedly backed by a deposit of currency that, and I don't understand all the mechanics of this, but from what I understand, people are suspicious of Tether because some of their filings seem kind of dodgy. And there is a possibility that Tether could go poof at some point in the future. And this is true with any coin. Any coin could have its value go down to 0, so that's why you need to be cautious. But if Tether itself went down to 0, all of these trading pairs that are using Tether to go from Bitcoin to Tether to Ethereum to Tether, those would everything would fall apart. And the crypto market would take an enormous dive if Tether fell apart. And so there's some people who recommend not keeping any money in Tether. And if you use it, to get into it and out of it as quick as possible, because it's supposed to stay worth $1. But because of some complications with the mechanics and the technology, there's not really a guarantee that it will forever. So if the value of $1 goes down compared to a yen or a peso, USDT is always going to stay the same value as a US dollar. Gwen's got a great question. Where do you think we are in the market cycle? Well, I'll share with you what I've heard. My opinion is very amateur. At most, I'm a sophomore with crypto, which means I know just about enough to be dangerous. Sophomore, if you don't know, is a combination of the Greek words sophos, which is wisdom, and more, which is fool. So the wise fool who knows enough to get himself into big trouble, That's me. You can go on my YouTube channel and watch where I live streamed losing 1 Ethereum to a crypto scam. So I offer this to you with so that you know that my opinion is not necessarily the best one, but I'll share with you what others are saying. There's a lot of people who think that right now we're in a bull market, and you can look at the charts of the last few months to see that the prices have generally been increasing. And there's a popular Twitter user who, gosh, what is his name? I can't recall his name off the top of my head, but he made a lot of waves in the crypto space because he predicted the price of Bitcoin very accurately using something called a stock to flow model. And what this stock to flow model did is it analyzed the Bitcoin halving events, which happen every 4 years, where Bitcoin goes through a halving, and then this has predictable outcomes on the price. There's some dispute as to whether or not that'll continue. And if the Bitcoin halving events, which do happen every 4 years on the blockchain, will continue to affect the price. So this is a whole bunch of technical garble to get to the point, which is that a lot of people are saying that the next 2 months are going to see a big rise in the price of crypto, up to $100,000 per Bitcoin. That's what a lot of other people are saying, is they're expecting by the end of 2021 that we could see Bitcoin at 100K. But shortly after that, we would enter a bear market and the price would go down. So that's what the rumor mill says. The rumor mill at the moment says where we are right now in the market cycle is we're about to have a big increase over the next 2 months. And shortly after that, in early 2022, at some point, January or February, things are going to go down. So that's where others say we are in the market cycle. As for myself, I don't know. I've put in less money than I can afford to lose into Bitcoin because that's where I feel comfortable. Anytime I earn income, I put 5% into cryptocurrency because that's comfortable for me. And if things go up over the next 2 months, great. And if they crash over that, after that, what my plan is to move a significant portion of my holdings from the crypto coins into stable coins during that bear drop, so that then I can sell high and buy low. That's the plan. So I hope that was helpful. If that brought up any other questions, type them in the chat box. If there was a term that I used that seemed confusing, type it in the chat box and ask, what does this term mean? Got another question here from Eric. What are the vulnerabilities? Great question, because there are a bunch of vulnerabilities. There's a couple of different ones that I can use to answer this question. And the first is, what are the vulnerabilities with the value of a coin? And the second is, what are the vulnerabilities in your personal ownership of the coin? And so to take the first one, it's really easy. No price is guaranteed. Even with the stable coin at USDT, $1, it might go down because the technology might implode. So price-wise, you're always vulnerable to the market and to deficiencies in the technology. For your personal holdings, your biggest vulnerabilities have to do with your security keys. There's a saying in crypto, not your keys, not your coins. And I ran that poll a little earlier about who owns which of these three: an exchange account, a soft wallet, and a hard wallet. An exchange account is a place like Coinbase or Binance, or it's some account like a bank, basically. And you set up an account with them and you send them your cash and you say, hey, turn this into crypto for me. Your vulnerability there is that you're trusting that entity to give you your crypto when you ask for it. Just like a bank, you're trusting that when you go to the bank and say, hey, I want to withdraw $100, that the bank says, yes, here's your $100. They might not do that. There's always a chance. And the same with an exchange account. There was an exchange back in 2012, I think it was, called Mt. Gox. Gox, Mt. Gox. If you're on my newsletter list, I put out a link to that in my most recent newsletter. And Mt. Gox was an exchange that people trusted. And they said, here's $100, buy me some Bitcoin. And then Mt. Gox took all the Bitcoin and ran. Poof. Everybody's crypto disappeared. And nobody's been able to retrieve their crypto. So that's a vulnerability. Not your keys, not your coin. You get your own keys on a smart wallet, which is stored in the browser or in a computer program, or in a hard wallet, which is an actual device. And a hard wallet, I've got one over here. It's like a USB stick is an example of a hard wallet. And I plug this into my computer and I put in my passcode. And I say, hey, I'm going to access my Bitcoin now. And the hard wallet uses an encryption to say, great, this is Caelan. He's going to get his Bitcoin. He's going to send it or withdraw it or convert it or do something. But that hard wallet verifies it's actually me. If this hard wallet goes down the garbage disposal and I lose it, I don't necessarily lose my crypto. Because I can use a recovery phrase, which is 24 random words that I set up when I set up the hard wallet. And I can use that secret key to access my funds on the blockchain. And so the vulnerabilities with using an exchange account is that you're trusting the exchange. The vulnerabilities with a hard wallet is that you could lose the device or lose your secret keys. But the general rule of thumb is if you have the secret passphrase that allows you to access your account or your crypto balance, then you retain ownership beyond what circumstances can throw at you. That's what it means, not your keys, not your coins. That an exchange account will have the keys, but a smart wallet and a hard wallet, you have the keys. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. I'm going to answer some more questions in that I see in the chat box, and I'm also going to put in a glossary into the chat box. There's a whole bunch of terms that we use, and that's one of the hard things about learning crypto is all the jargon. And so I'm in the middle of writing an ebook right now that I want to publish on Kindle. Why can't I get this on here? And I want to put this in the chat box here. It's not letting me do it for some reason. That's weird. Okay, I'll type it in a second. But first I'm going to come to some other questions. What's a soft wallet? A soft wallet isn't a specific device. A soft wallet has it's a computer program. So I use a soft wallet called MetaMask, and I'll just share my screen here to show you what it's like. All right. So I'm over here on coinmarketcap.com and I'm looking at things. And let's say I want to go and buy some of this coin, this BUSD coin. And I click on BUSD, which is a stable coin done by Binance. And I scroll down to see where can I buy this coin? And it's going to list the markets right here. Okay, so I want to buy some with Ethereum because I have Ethereum in my smart wallet. It's going to bring me over to Binance. If you're living in the US, you can't get an account on Binance because of some of the legislation restrictions they have. But I have this browser extension up here in the top for MetaMask. And when I click this browser extension, I can put in my password, which I don't know at the moment. I don't even know my password. Sorry about that. I've got it stored somewhere else. But I open up my smart wallet here. This is actually my smart wallet. And what the smart wallet does is it allows me to transfer to an exchange or to another account using one address. Right now, if I want to send to an address, I have to use a very long encrypted string. And it's a big gobbledygook that I have to copy and paste. So if I want to send you $10 worth of Bitcoin, then it's going to look like this one on the right. But there's this new type of address coming out, which is this one on the left, which is a smart address. And the smart address says it doesn't matter whether you're sending Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, you just use this one universal address and it'll accept to this address whatever kind of coin you want to send there. So that's what a smart wallet is it allows you to have one universal address for different type of coins. And a soft wallet, as opposed to a hard wallet, is stored in your browser or on your computer. There's not a physical component. Great question, Eric. What happens if an owner passes? You can inherit cryptocurrency just like you can inherit cash. From what I understand, and again, this is not financial advice, and legislation is always changing. So if you're watching this on the replay, this might not be accurate to the current time or to your particular jurisdiction. It's probably going to be subject to inheritance tax. The taxable event, which I would love to put here in the chat box, I bet it's because it's too long. That's probably what it is. The taxable event is when you transfer from fiat into crypto and back. If you transfer from crypto to crypto, like if you're trading Bitcoin for USDT, it's not taxable. It's when you make the change from Bitcoin into dollars and you withdraw those dollars. From what I understand, and again, this is just my opinion as a dude on the internet, it's when you cash out. That's the taxable event. And that's what you have to report on your taxes and file capital gains and do the whole thing. But for right now, the legislation seems to be that if you're trading into stable coins, that is not a taxable event. So if you have people inherit your cryptocurrency after you pass, it's likely going to be subject to the same sorts of taxes as any other asset. Is it a security or is it a currency? Those are the things that different countries are working out right now. Some of them treat specific coins as currencies and other coins as securities. And those sorts of things are being worked out in the courts in different jurisdictions as we speak. So it always changes. You've either got to be on top of what's happening in your jurisdiction, or you have to be willing to do a lot of research to figure it out. Okay, so I'm looking through the questions here. All right. Great, seems like we've answered a bunch of the questions. Which stable coins? I'm not sure what this refers to, Gwen, but the most popular stable coin is USDT. Binance, which is an exchange run out of China, is a very innovative company, and their stablecoin BUSD has some very interesting advantages over USDT. You said you'd invest in them when the market took a turn. Okay, now I understand your question. So which stable coins to invest in when the market goes down? Personally, I'm going to stay out of USDT because I'm hesitant. Other people have made convincing arguments that make me distrust it as a stable coin. There's a USDC, BUSD are good alternatives. And then there's another one, DAO, DAO, which has some good technology behind it. And I'm not sure which one I'm going to go into because, I'm still about 60 days away, I'm hoping, from when I need to make that transition. And so I'm planning to do the research over the next couple of months to figure that out. All right, so if you want to feel competent in owning Bitcoin, I'm going to paste this series of steps here in the chat box for you. These are 4 steps that you can take. Learn how to transfer $100 into Bitcoin. Learn how to send it to somebody else. Learn how to have somebody else send it to you and then turn it back into cash. If you can do these 4 things, you can use cryptocurrency. These are the 4 steps. Turn cash into crypto, send crypto, receive crypto, and cash out and turn it back into dollars or whatever your local currency is. And I've got a resource here in the chat box that can help you do that. This is a website I put together after I helped my landlady buy her first Bitcoin, firstbitcoinchecklist.com. And I'm going to share my screen here and take you over to this website. Now, this website, you don't need to sign in or subscribe to get these step-by-step instructions. So you can share this website with anybody who wants to get into Bitcoin. You just send them to firstbitcoinchecklist.com, and it's got 5 simple steps. This first step is optional. What I like to do whenever I'm using crypto is to use a VPN and a password manager. I find these good security precautions. These aren't necessary, but I find them useful. Every step has a blue box that you can open to find out more information. So if you're only wanting to do this fast, you can just stick to the items on the left. But if you want to know what specific things in here mean, open one of the blue boxes and it'll go into more detail. These links are affiliate links, which means at no cost to you, if you use these links, then I may earn a commission. And this is what incentivizes me to keep producing these sorts of resources, is by promoting affiliate links. If you don't want to use my affiliate links, then get your Google fingers out and you can just Google the name, that's fine. But if you like the work that I provide, then it would be a nice way to support my work by using the affiliate links. The second step is to set up an exchange account. And the ones that I recommend for US residents are Coinbase. And if you're not in the US, use Binance. These are 2 of the biggest exchanges. They're the most secure and they have the most capabilities. Whichever one you use, you're going to have to go through a KYC process, which is a know your customer process. And I go through a bunch of details here in the blue box. And what this does is it verifies that you as a person are the one who's opening this account. It's not some rando on the internet who's trying to launder money. It's you personally. And these exchanges, because of the legislative requirements in their countries, they have to do this KYC verification to prevent money laundering and make sure that you are who you say you are. And also to track you down for taxes in the future. That's one of the reasons they do this, is because they know that cryptocurrency creates taxable events. And so these exchanges set this up so that you're not going to be able to get away scot-free. You got to pay taxes on your crypto. Step 4 is the KYC verification. And what I find really helpful for KYC verification is to do this once and do it well. Get a file folder on your desktop that has images of your documentation. So take photos of the front and back of your license. Take selfies of yourself with holding the identification. These are things you're going to need to use again and again. And so if you keep them in a place on your computer where you know that you can get to them, then when you set up a new account on a new exchange because you want to buy a new coin, you've got all the files in one place and you don't have to replicate that work every time. And then finally, there's actually transferring the cash into crypto. That's the 5th step. When you can take $1 and turn it into cryptocurrency. And I go through a bunch of specifics in here. The big lesson is that you can just buy a bit of Bitcoin. You don't need to buy a whole Bitcoin. So the price of entry is not $60,000. You can buy just a fraction of a Bitcoin, and that's enough to get started. Down here at the bottom, oh, look at that. That's today's masterclass. Hello. Down here at the bottom, there's 3 resources. Okay. This third one over on the side is the Facebook group that I run. And if you have more questions later that you want to ask, I have a free Bitcoin Basics group over here on Facebook. Feel free to write a question and say, hey, what does this coin mean? What is this, what is this I hear about in the news? I'm happy to answer questions in there. And sometimes for people that ask questions, I actually record short videos that go deep into details. And then I've got 2 other options down here for coaching. after helping my landlady buy a bit of Bitcoin, I thought, this is going to help a lot of people. And so I've got two programs. One of them is a one-on-one coaching program where we have 4 weekly 45-minute calls. And I hold your hand and walk you through step by step everything that you need to do in order to get set up with crypto. I'm also launching a crypto study group where it's $1,000 to join. So it's half the price of the one-on-one, but half of that you get in Bitcoin. So your $1,000 investment includes $500 in Bitcoin I'm going to send to you. And we're going to send it among people in the group. So the total cost of this is actually $500. You're getting $500 back in crypto. And then the value of that might go up and might go down depending on what the value of the fluctuation in the crypto is. But I've got a special offer for people watching this live. Let me get these links right here, and I'm going to put these in the chat box. I'm offering half off each of these only for the month of November. So the crypto coaching one-on-one with me is not $2,000, it's $1,000 if you use this code. And let me pop it in the chat box here. And if you'd like to join the study group, I'm going to put this link in, and these links are only good for the month of November. After this, I'm going to raise the prices up to the full rates. And the reason why I'm offering half off is because these are new programs. I've never launched these programs before, and I'm interested in getting testimonials from people who use my coaching in order to get into crypto and get their own portfolio set up. And so in exchange for testimonials about what this is like working with me, I'm offering half off only for the month of November for both of these programs. So if you're watching this in the replay, there might be a list, links to those down below, but after December 1st, those rates are not going to be available. So if you'd like to join me for coaching, I'd love to help you get into crypto. But if you just want to use my affiliate links and firstbitcoinchecklist.com, those will be enough to get you started. So that brings us to the end of today's training, and I really appreciate you coming with me on this journey and learning about the future of cryptocurrency.